Dave, pre-season training well underway now over the last couple of weeks. How's everything started?
Yeah, started really well. I think generally the lads have come back in really good condition physically. We've tested them a few times in terms of the physical output and started with sort of some testing. Looking really good, really strong. And then obviously some of the balls came out sort of later end of the week, and yeah, the quality in the group certainly started to show straight away.
I'm looking at the group. A few have sort of been added to the group over the last few weeks on top of what has sort of stayed from the end of last season. Specifically on those additions, what will they add to the existing group of players that the fans watched last season?
So I think it's probably worthwhile, before we go into the new players, just talking about the existing players. I think it was the number one priority of the summer was to make sure we retained the majority of that team. I think we've retained 14 players, so the vast majority of the squad has managed to stay, and that's really important. It means that we've got that cohesive and that togetherness already built into the group. Our way of playing, our style, our philosophy, it's already embedded well within those group of players. In terms of the new players coming through the door, what we've tried to look for is again, recruiting around profiles and players who fit into the system and the way that we want to play. Gives us some different options and different types of players as well. But very much, if you look at the squad now, it's built up now, particularly with the new lads coming in, majority of them sort of played step 3, step 2. So really good experiences, still quite a young players coming through the door as well, with plenty of areas to improve and plenty of sort of improvement left in them. We've got a position now where we've probably got two players for almost every position, looking really, really strong, really comfortable where we are, and there's probably still maybe one, maybe possibly two to come.
Many managers at this level have a varying plans at this time of the year. Some of them are going to come in with a totally fresh group with maybe only 2 or 3 staying on. Some may well be in your case where you've kept a good majority from last season. In terms of your recruitment, as you mentioned sort of at the end there, you may be looking at 1 or 2 more. I guess throughout pre-season the fans are going to be seeing those players that they recognise, the new faces, rather than maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 trialists in a starting 11.
Yeah, potentially. I think there'll still be a couple of trialists sort of playing in games. Obviously, there's a few lads who've got a lot of capability and a lot, sort of a really good skill set who've sort of come into us over the last week in training as a trialist. So we need to give them some game time to see where they are from the development point of view. But largely speaking, it's going to be, we've got 18 players in the squad now, all signed up and ready to go. So majority of the game time is going to be with those players. If someone comes in and they are a rough diamond and we think we can work with them and they can improve the group, then absolutely we'll do the best thing. But largely speaking, I think it'll only be maybe 1, maybe 2 additions to the players who've been announced. And if a couple of them are trialists who do really well, then that's great. If it goes in a different direction, again, that's fine as well. And the majority of the players, and like I said, the minutes in sort of pre-season friendlies will be focused on making sure that we're embedding our way of playing and our philosophy.
A lot of pre-season cliches are battered around at this time of the year, but I guess from your perspective in those early pre-season games, it is all about sort of players getting those minutes and then building on from that sort of tactics and shape going into that first league game in early August.
Yeah, I think it's about making sure that we've got the tactics and the principles and the way that we want to play both in and out of possession. That's got to be really clear. It's got to be evident from day one. Minutes in the legs are important. Results probably after those 2. Still important. We obviously want to try and pick up wins. We want to try and make sure that we ride the crest of the wave from last season and try and take that good form into the start of next season. We're not going to do that if we lose 8 out of 8 friendly games. So it's important that the results are obviously important. They're not the be-all and end-all in pre-season. They're certainly less important than the other 2 factors that we've talked about. But we're going to be going out trying to win all of the games that we play. And obviously we've got some really tough opponents this year. It's a much tougher pre-season than what it was last year. But like I said, we'll go into each game. We'll try and win each game. We'll try and set up and make sure that the output is there, and that's key, making sure physically from a minutes and legs point of view, and then obviously the tactical and the way of playing is massive. Looking
at the opposition, as you've mentioned there, some tough opponents in those games. As a manager, when you're putting together a pre-season for a club like Bury, what are you looking for?
I mean, you've got to look at the squad of players and the group of where you are and what they need in terms of individually and as a collective. So obviously, like last season, it was a brand new group, so it was all about trying to play teams where we could implement the philosophy and the way of playing. I think this time around, like I said, we've kept sort of 13, 14 players, so it's a case of adding to that and making sure that we've got good players coming in and making us better and improving the group as a whole. But this group's probably a lot further along than what last year's was, so it's about making sure that we're being challenged a little bit further. And again, when you look at some of the teams we're playing, like Radcliffe, Buxton, you've got Wigan, so we've got Chester, some big clubs in there and some really good sides. So, if we get anything from those 4 games, it's a massive bonus, and that's why we want to try and challenge them.
The fans obviously chomping at the bit, ready to get back to watching your side play. We saw a number of them down at the open training session at the weekend. What's your message to them ahead of pre-season?
Yeah, just hopefully you're half as excited as what I am. I think, Saturday was brilliant. Some of the new players commented, we probably had 900 and nearly 1,000 people through the gates in terms of the fun day, and probably half of them, maybe a little bit more, were probably watching an open training session. And a couple of new players sort of mentioned that they've had more fans watching them train than they had at previous clubs. So it's unique, and look, we know how special this club is, and I hope the fans are excited, ready and raring to go, because we certainly are.
Perfect. Cheers, Dave.
Thank you.